Hey, this is Scott. So, I'm about to take you through a series of presentations that are going to cover the material in this book. I hope you were able to join me last time where I introduced my intent for the series. You can see that brief minute video. In fact, let's just go ahead and look at the schedule. So, last time again, that EG00 was the introduction, and that just a little over a minute with my intentions for the series. EG01 is where we are today, and I'll be, you know, putting these out as I can. And again, I'm going to cover pretty much everything that's available in our new book that was just released last month. So I love quotes, and so here too from Maslow. In any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or to step back into safety. The second one, what one can be, one must be. And so to me these were very motivating, and I decided to put them in the very beginning because I hope all of you will step forward into the future of AI and analytics with us. So where is the AI and analytics revolution, right? So we hear miraculous stories of cutting edge breakthroughs. It started with IBM's Watson defeat against champions Brad Rutter and Ken Jennings in Jeopardy. Remember that 10 years ago? It was $1 million prize by IBM. And then 6 years ago, AlphaGo was the first computer to beat a professional Go player, Fan Hill. So it was kind of the revolution there where, AI was on the forefront. So if you listen to read, excuse me, if you listen or read news, you're going to hear stories of, the miraculous wonders of AI and analytics, how they're changing the world. And from this, you'd think that companies across the globe are achieving miraculous results as well. Um, Everywhere from LinkedIn to white papers from national news outlets, syndicated news, to blogs, AI and analytics. All the rage has been on these hot stories about AI and analytics for years. So programs are mature and successful, is what you would think once you read these things, but not so much really. We really don't get the full picture. We don't read the unwritten story. We read what's available, and what is available is meant to sensationalize the stories that are out there. And there are success stories. Don't get me wrong. Um, so it turns out a large number of AI and analytics programs are just really not living up to expectations. A number of them are sick or are dying, and really that's kind of our intent here is to show you some of the gaps. So what is the problem? I mean, is it investment? Nope. Companies are now spending more than ever in analytics and AI technologies. In fact, AI investment in the U.S. is growing 36% per year, and is growing faster in many countries like China. Well, China is growing over 300%. In healthcare, 74% of executives said that their organization would invest more in predictive modeling in 2021. So, is it lack of technology? Nope. There are fascinating breakthroughs occurring all on fronts of image, voice, streaming, pattern recognition. I mean, you name it. Technologically, we're doing great things. Technology is not the burden. Everything from radiology to autonomous vehicles. It's pretty amazing what's being done. Is it lack of technical talent? And no, not really. By there's some studies that cite that there's a need for data scientists and developers and related professionals. The curve of demand is actually flattening a little bit. Anyway, so is it lack of creating an executable strategic plan? Excuse me. So while there's been a lot of strategic wishing, organizations lack meaningful and strategic plans. Um, Specifically, the development of executable, and that is a key term, executable strategies, and leadership, that's a key term, leadership to see these strategies brought through fruition. So this is the missing element. This is critical element that most organizations that are failing lack. What you don't hear, this is a busy slide, but meaningful, because the majority of companies are failing, with over 3/4 of their big data and AI initiatives remaining a challenge. Over half the organizations state that they're not yet treating data as a business and I would say, I'm going to add here, I think a strategic asset. Over half admit that they're not competing on data and analytics. 7 out of 10, 70%, in an MIT study in 2020 reported that minimal or no impact from AI so far. And 90% of the companies that have made some investment in AI, fewer, than 2 out of 5, 40% report business gains from AI in the past 3 years. And lastly, according to New Vantage Partners, you can see that only about 25% of organizations have actually forged this data-driven culture. So I love this quote by Eisenhower. Leadership is the art of getting people to want to do what must be done. And let's look at digital transformation. So those companies that have digitally transformed themselves are 26% more profitable than their average industry competitors. But this has required an investment in leadership as well as technology. And if you look at the research across the 5 global industrial revolutions, they point out one thing in common. That those companies that were successful versus those that were not, top leadership was involved at every level of the organization, and it's this leadership that is firmly focused on success. So, there are a lot of stories about companies investing in amazing technology. That's true, but that's not the problem. In fact, over 93% of businesses report their people and processes are the problem, not technology. So what is preached? So if you look at the dozens of books on AI and analytics technology, there are dozens out there. There are also dozens on theory and applications of AI. You're going to find dozens more written for data scientists and practitioners of the trade. But what you're not going to find is that many books that offer leadership and management and the candid truth of where organizations are failing and how to overcome these gaps and challenges. You will not find stories of failure and why failure occurred. So whether you're a mature AI and analytics program, whether you're just starting your program, or whether you had some success or not, there is a way to be successful in your data-driven journey. And there is a way to drive results and return on investment. So we are at a turning point. We are, in fact, in this AI and analytics revolution. And organizations must successfully plan and align and then execute. They need to build into their plans the ability to adapt quickly to external as well as internal forces. And if they do that, then they should thrive. If they don't, they will not survive. And I like this quote by Ram Charan. 70% of strategic failures are due to poor execution of leadership, not for lack of smarts or visions. So performers versus non, 60 to 80%. While some companies are not successfully executing their programs, there are companies that are very successful. The gaps are startling. Companies successfully competing on analytics and AI and analytics will clearly win out in their industries. In fact, in a Deloitte study, the gaps between ROI to overperformers to underperformers, those are Deloitte's terms, showed a 60 to 80% gap in ROI. So let's briefly look at 3 keys. essentially the last sentence there. The keys to success are the right leadership, accelerated adaptation, and execution. And this is especially true in a post-COVID world, right? COVID has changed these four things here, and things are, the structure, how people work, automated actions, and quick, agile, intelligent decision making, augmented by analytics. So the evidence is clear. There are organizations that have successfully implemented AI and analytics programs. There are organizations that have not, and only those that can achieve data-driven success will survive. So we started with this discussion with two Maslow quotes. In any given moment, we have the options to step forward into growth or to step back into safety. And what one can be, one must be. And we certainly hope that your organization will step forward into the AI and analytics revolution and be all that it can be. Here are just some ways to connect with me or the content that I have out there. I would really appreciate if you have any comments on the value of this series, what I can do better, and if I should do this for some of the other books that I've written. So you can post this to YouTube in a comment or a LinkedIn comment as well. And I hope you can join me next time for the video EG02, where we talk about a story of failure. Until next time.